Our mission today is a deep dive into a really interesting stack of sources. They reveal this central tension playing out in the global economy right now.
Yeah, it's this clash, isn't it? You've got the incredible speed of tech innovation, especially AI.
Just breakneck speed.
Exactly. And then you have the glacial pace of legal systems, regulations, politics trying to catch up.
It's a dizzying picture. I mean, 1 minute we're talking $500 billion AI deals, new business models popping up constantly.
And the next, we're seeing really immediate, profound harm from tech that anyone can access. Plus, political fights threatening to block basic economic data. It's quite the mix.
So we really have to start where that tension feels most raw, most alarming.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the dark side of accessible AI.
Right.
This whole nudify crisis.
Yeah.
There's a story out of Minnesota that just perfectly highlights how far behind our laws really are.
It's a tough story, this one, but really crucial for understanding how this harm actually works. We're talking about a group of friends, Jessica Stulees, Molly Kelly. They found out a male acquaintance was taking their photos, just, regular Facebook photos, and using an AI site, Deep Swap, to create these fake sexualized images of them. And not just them, over 80 other women, too.
And what's truly terrifying, I think, is how easy it is. How little skill it takes.
Zero skill. That's the thing. These nudify apps, they're sometimes even advertised on places like Facebook. They're in the app stores, Apple, Google.
So anyone can do this.
Anyone with a photo and an internet connection. As the experts point out, it means, and this is a quote, any person can really be victimized. The barrier is just gone.
And then you hit the legal wall. One of the victims, Molly Kelly, she's actually a law student.
Yeah.
And she realized after all this that the guy who did it did not break any laws that we're aware of. And that is problematic, her words.
Exactly. That's the legal abyss right there. The laws we have are just completely outdated for this kind of specific violation.
How so? What's missing?
Well, the main federal law people point to, the Take It Down Act, it's all about publishing these things online, like revenge porn, right?
Distribution.
Right. But if someone just creates these images, keeps them on their own computer, maybe shares them privately, that federal law often doesn't apply.
So the law tackles the sharing, which is obviously bad, similar to child exploitation material, but it misses the initial act, the creation, the private possession.
It completely misses it in many jurisdictions, which leaves the victims with almost no legal path for that initial, deeply violating experience.
And the trauma from that is very real, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Victims talk about severe panic, anxiety. Marianne Franks from the Cyber Civil Rights Initiative, she compares it directly to the psychological impact of revenge porn. It's this instant violation, but the legal system, it takes years if it ever catches up at all.
Which leads to this legislative push in Minnesota you mentioned. They're trying something different.
Yeah, State Senator Erin May Quaid, she proposed a bill with massive fines, like $500,000, $500,000 per fake image generated in the state. But targeting the companies, the platforms enabling it, not just the individual user.
Try to hit the source, the technology provider.
It's a novel approach. If you can't easily prosecute the individual creator under current law, maybe you can financially pressure the platform that makes it possible.
But hold on, if a state like Minnesota does that, imposes this huge fine, wouldn't a global platform just block users from Minnesota, block IP addresses? Does a local law really fix a global tech issue?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's the big limitation of trying to use local policy for global tech. You might just create a patch, like you said, not a fundamental fix. But, the intent is clear. They're trying to force the industry to actually feel the cost of the harm they facilitate. That sends a powerful signal, even if the mechanics are complex. It really shows the federal government how inadequate the current laws are.
Yeah, a really powerful and frankly disturbing example of that speed versus structure problem. Okay, let's pivot completely to the other side of that tension.
Right, the hyperspeed AI arms race. Yeah. The sheer scale of money involved.
It's mind-boggling. Companies like OpenAI, valued now at, what, $500 billion?
$500 billion, yeah. And they're building out capacity at a pace. I mean, you'd have to look at maybe WWII defense spending to find a parallel. It's extraordinary.
Give us some of those numbers again, because they bear repeating.
Okay, so you've got this thing called the Stargate project. $500 billion commitment to build the massive data centers and chip infrastructure needed for future AI models.
$500 billion.
Then there's a $300 billion deal with Oracle for cloud services. And this deal with NVIDIA, up to a $100 billion investment into OpenAI.
But NVIDIA gets something back.
Right. That's the interesting part. NVIDIA gets equity in OpenAI and revenue from them. It's a key supplier investing in its major customer.
Okay, that kind of circular financing, especially with NVIDIA being a key vendor, that immediately rings alarm bells for some analysts, doesn't it? Reminds them of past bubbles.
Definitely. It raises that red flag of vendor financing. Back in the dot-com era, that was a huge warning sign.
Why is that?
Well, it often meant companies were funding growth based on inflated valuations and promises of future equity, not necessarily real customer demand paying the bills. It could mask how much cash a company was actually burning through, its underlying financial health.
So is this a bubble? Or is it just, as some claim, what's necessary for this new technological age?
Well, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, he's been pretty open about it. He says he's willing to run at a loss to grab market share and just grow, grow, grow.
Prioritize growth over profit for now.
Exactly. And their CFO, Sarah Fryer, she compared this massive spending to, building the essential plumbing during the early days of the internet. The argument is, look, this isn't wasteful spending. It's the fundamental infrastructure cost for the next digital revolution.
And the competition is certainly pushing everyone to move faster. Anthropic, OpenAI's rival, just put out Claude Sonnet 4.5.
Yeah, and it's getting really good reviews. Some benchmarks are calling it the best coding model in the world already.
It's not just speed, though, is it? They're talking about improvements in reliability.
Right. It seems optimized more for practical business tasks, and they've apparently worked on reducing what they call concerning behaviors. So less likely to deceive or just tell you what it thinks you want to hear, that kind of sycophancy.
The stat that really jumped out at me from the sources was about its autonomous focus time. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, that's a big jump. It went from 7 hours in their previous model, Opus 4, to 30 hours now.
30 hours of focus.
Basically, yeah. What it means for, say, if you're prepping for a meeting or managing a big project, is the model can handle complex, multi-step tasks for much longer without going off track, forgetting context, or, hallucinating.
So if I give it a complicated job like analyze this data, summarize it, draft a presentation, and spot the legal risks, it can actually stick with that whole process.
For up to 30 hours, apparently. That's a huge leap in reliability for business use cases. Massive.
Okay, so they're spending billions building this stuff, but they also need to show they can make money from it, right? Which brings us to OpenAI's latest move, instant checkout in ChatGPT.
Yes, this is a major play towards monetization. They're starting with single-item buys directly from Etsy. That's why Etsy stock jumped 16% when this was announced.
Right.
And Shopify merchants are apparently next in line. It lets you, the user, complete a purchase right there in the chatbot window.
Without having to click away to the merchant's site.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Seamless. And OpenAI gets a cut, a transaction fee. It's a very direct path from conversation to commerce.
It's incredible, this private sector velocity spending $500 billion inventing new ways to shop. And it contrasts so sharply with the different kind of market force we're seeing. The withdrawal of government support, specifically subsidies, hitting the auto industry.
Yeah, that's the electric vehicle market story. Those federal incentives, which can be pretty significant, up to $7,500.
Big chunk of change.
They're set to expire after September 30th.
And even though EV sales hit a record in Q3, like 410,000 units, the industry seems really nervous about this.
Oh, they are. GM's CFO, Paul Jacobson, he basically warned there's going to be some noise in the markets. He said automakers now have to discover the natural demand for EVs without that government subsidy helping out.
So moving from government-pushed demand to what consumers actually want, unaided.
Precisely. And the industry knows that transition could be bumpy.
We're already seeing signs of that, right? Automakers cutting production, workforce reductions.
Yes, they're bracing for it. You should probably expect more price adjustments, maybe inventory piling up a bit in the coming months as they try to figure out what that natural demand level really is without the incentive boost.
That search for organic demand for new customers, it's leading to some really creative strategies in other sectors too.
Right.
Like Coach, the luxury brand.
Right. They're trying to lure in Gen Z shoppers, not just with expensive bags, but with experiences, affordable ones.
They're opening coffee shops inside or attached to their stores.
Yeah, planning 12 to 15 globally each year. It's pure lifestyle marketing. They sell these cute novelty items like a tabby cake, a little dessert shaped like their famous tabby handbag, lower price point.
Get them in the door with coffee and cake.
Exactly. And apparently it's working really well. The idea is someone might come for the $10 cake and coffee today. Maybe they can't afford the $500 bag yet, but they visit often, get familiar with the brand.
And eventually become a customer for the main products.
That's the hope. And those locations are seeing big sales jumps, double, even triple-digit increases across the whole store connected to the coffee shop.
But isn't there a risk there? Linking a high-end, exclusive brand like Coach to something as accessible as a coffee shop, could it dilute that luxury image? Luxury is often about excluding people, isn't it?
That is the tightrope, absolutely.
Mm.
But their success so far suggests maybe for Gen Z, luxury isn't just about exclusivity anymore. It might be more about experiences you can share, things you can customize, something that feels authentic.
Sure.
If the store is just a place to buy something, Gen Z might just buy it online. But if it's a cool place to hang out, take a picture of your tappy cake for Instagram. They stick around. They see the bags. It's a calculated bet on what modern luxury means.
Speaking of customization and trends breathing life into old categories,
Yeah.
we have to mention dirty soda.
Huh. Yes, the dirty soda phenomenon. It's wild.
It's basically reviving the soda market, which has been kind of sluggish.
It really is. Dirty soda, just pop mixed with flavored syrup, sometimes cream or milk.
Sounds interesting.
It started in Utah, specialty shops like Swig, but now it's gone totally mainstream. It's cheap, you can customize it endlessly, it's often lower in caffeine, and it really appeals to younger women, sort of 18 to 35.
So the big brands are scrambling to get in on this.
Oh, yeah. PepsiCo's launching specific products, Dirty Dew, Mug Float's Vanilla Howler, Taco Bell's doing a dirty version of their Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
It just shows how a specific, maybe niche consumer trend, often boosted by social media, can completely shake up a huge, established market like soda.
Exactly. It's organic demand driving innovation, which is kind of the opposite of that subsidized EV market we were just talking about.
Right. All this fast-moving consumer and tech stuff,
Yeah.
it again contrasts so sharply with the friction, the gridlock we're seeing in Washington. And that's impacting something fundamental, reliable economic data.
Yeah. The political situation is getting tense again. We're looking at a potential government shutdown. Deadline is Wednesday, October 1st.
What's the holdup this time?
It's the usual partisan standoff over a short-term funding bill. Democrats want to extend the enhanced Obamacare tax credits that expire soon. Republicans are saying no, not in this bill, needed to keep the lights on.
Okay, we've seen shutdowns before. Historically, the economic impact is usually pretty small, right?
Yeah.
Like a tiny dip in GDP that recovers.
Usually, yes. Maybe 0.1% off GDP per week, something like that. But analysts are saying this time feels a bit different.
Why?
Because of the added uncertainty from President Trump's threat. He's talked about potentially making the furloughs permanent for federal workers if there's a shutdown, mass firings.
Wow, okay. That adds a whole new layer of risk.
A massive labor market risk and uncertainty that we just haven't really faced in previous shutdowns.
But for the markets,
Yeah.
for the Federal Reserve, the immediate worry isn't just the lost GDP, it's the data, isn't it?
Exactly. The data dilemma. A prolonged shutdown means the government stops releasing key economic reports. The big one everyone watches is the non-farm payrolls report, the jobs report, due this Friday.
And the Fed relies heavily on that.
It's probably the most crucial piece of data they use to gauge the health of the economy when they're thinking about interest rates, potential cuts, all of that.
So if they don't get that official, detailed report, what do they do?
They're forced to rely on less complete private sector data, which just injects a lot more uncertainty into their decision-making, right, when stability is what everyone wants. It increases the risk of a policy mistake.
Right. And just quickly wrapping up some other big money moves happening despite all this political drama. Two huge stories caught my eye.
Yeah, first, that massive $55 billion deal to take Electronic Arts EA private.
$55 billion. Led by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners, which is Jared Kushner's firm.
That's said to be the largest leveraged buyout, LBO, in Wall Street history. The amount of debt involved is just staggering, rivals the GDP of some countries.
And then, on the complete flip side of finance, the consequent is catching up.
Right. Charlie Javice, the founder of that fintech startup Frank, she was sentenced to over 7 years in prison.
For defrauding JPMorgan Chase, right?
Yeah. She vastly inflated the number of customers her company had when JPMorgan bought it for $175 million.
A stark reminder that even if tech moves fast, basic rules about, not committing fraud still apply. Gravity still works.
Absolutely. You know, what really stands out looking across all these different sources is just the incredible lack of sync.
Mm.
We went from a really personal local crime enabled by an instant AI tool that the victims can't even prosecute effectively, to an industry planning to spend $500 billion on future computing, while Washington is struggling just to pass a basic budget to keep the economic data flowing.
It feels like the speed of tech and finance is just running laps around the ability of our traditional systems, our laws, our politics, to actually manage it.
That's the core issue, isn't it? The tools for both amazing progress and really deep personal harm are getting democratized almost overnight.
Instantly accessible.
While the systems meant to govern them, protect us, they're stuck in these legal loopholes, political fights.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, to chew on is this. If this gap keeps widening, how long can our institutions realistically cope with the fallout of the AI age? What kind of breakthroughs, not just tweaks, but real breakthroughs do we need in law, in regulation, to even hope to match the speed of code and the speed of capital?
That's the challenge. That's the big question facing every market, every government, every one of us really right now.